Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us on this LinkedIn space. I particularly had issues trying to choose the name of this show, but I know down the road as we proceed, as we get accustomed to this, we'll be getting something that is very, very suitable for this. But this platform has been set up or set apart to be able to share knowledge, the wealth of knowledge that is in the industry, from your very human resource managers to the industry players and individuals who have gone through it, who have been through it, and who have or are in position to give you something to take away or a leaf to carry home with you to help you in that next interview or to help you in that next venture that you want to get into. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mutsinzi Emmanuel, and I'm going to be your host for this space. Today, I'm privileged to have two amazing ladies with me here in the house. I'm going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, to say hi to you, to tell us their name, what they're doing, where they're working, and a fun fact. Just one fun fact about them before we dive into our topic of today. I think let me begin with, let's begin from my right. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm amazing. How are you?
Good, good. Glad to have you on the show today.
I'm blessed to be here.
Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Shamim Walusimbi Nawagalansuvuga. I am a human resource professional, specialized in talent acquisition as well as training. I work full-time in Aldelia, which is a global human resource consultancy, as a recruitment consultant. I also have served in various spaces in the HR fraternity. The most recent currently is a board member of the Africa HR Confederation.
That sounds big.
Yes. So that's really about me.
Awesome. And one fun fact. Tell us something.
One fun fact. I love nature. I cannot do without being around nature for even a month.
Okay.
Thank you.
Interesting. And to, growing up, I had a hard time distinguishing between left and right. So on my left, we do have another amazing lady that I want to give an opportunity to also introduce herself. And over to you.
Thank you, Emma.
How are you doing?
Fine, Emma, how are you?
Have you?
Glad to be here too.
Yes.
My name is Esther Regina Nampija, and I'm the head of HR in Care International in Uganda. I have been in care for about 13 years now, but also currently I'm also serving on the Human Resource Managers Association as the head of it, as the vice president, and I'm also in the Fun House and as the treasurer and many other spaces in the HR fraternity. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for all accepting the invite. One fun fact about yourself.
I love dancing and I love music, and sometimes I DJ.
Nice. So a while ago we were having an event for the Human Resource Fun House, and which is a collaboration of human resource of personnel or professionals, where they get together and just lay off the work stress and be a shoulder for one another. And I saw her heading up to the DJ box, and I was like, I need to speak with her more often. She needs to to be in my circles. Thank you very much, Esther. Thank you very much, Shamim, for coming through, and I'm super privileged to have you. And maybe you've also just broken what are those things called, where it was like a tradition. I always thought for you to be a human resource officer or professional in a medical field, you had to have a medical background of some sort.
Exactly.
So you do have?
No, really, I don't have a medical background, but I went for DJ classes.
DJ classes?
Yes.
That's it. People go for DJ classes. You never know. You could end up. So yes, we are thrilled to have you both on this episode today, and we want to dive into something called transferable skills.
Yes.
Right?
Very important.
Transferable skills. First of all, we want to understand what are transferable skills. Maybe to give us a preamble. Often when we are having interviews, people come into this room and they have experience, but they also have personal character traits. They have things that they've gone through that have equipped them with particular skill sets. I think that's why they used to ask us to be prefects in school. You learn how to speak in public, you learn how to be more organized, you learn how to, do a couple of things, not necessarily work experience. So as people in the human resource space, how are we able to identify these skill sets and utilize them in these individuals? But first of all, we want to break down, and I'm going to ask both of you to tell us what are transferable skills, and if you could give us some examples. And maybe let's start from Esther.
Yes,
Go ahead.
thank you, Emma. So often at times when we are hiring people, we have been looking so much at traditional ways of hiring. But currently, with the changes that are happening in the HR fraternity, in the HR space, we're looking at skills that, we're looking out for skills that can be, you know, adaptable in many ways, things that go beyond the traditional things of we get from school. We're looking at skills like leadership skills. If I'm hiring someone today, I want, other than just their technical expertise they're bringing on board, I want to see, do they bring the leadership skills on board? Are they leaders in themselves? Do they exhibit? Can they lead a project in case I give them the chance to lead a project tomorrow? Because I may be hiring them today for something that is not at a leadership level, but then there is another project coming on. So
Yeah.
can I transfer this person to that project? So I'll be looking out for leadership skills when I'm looking at this person. I'll be looking out for critical thinking skills, because most of the times, you know, we go to school and we get the theory, but then can you look behind that theory? Can you break it down for someone who is not, you know, who hasn't gone to school like you have gone? Can you actually think beyond just what you're studying in school? Then of course we're looking for people who can be able to solve problems, who are problem solvers.
Yes.
If I get you into an office, if I get you into a role, can you actually solve issues? Can you solve problems without waiting for your supervisor to solve the problems for you? So you're also looking for someone who is going to pay attention to detail. You know, you want to hire someone who is not going to just look at things as they come to them. You're going to look out for someone who's going to pay attention to detail, someone who is going to be adaptable in the things that they do, because we're working, there's a diverse community we are working in. So can people be adaptable when they are hired in these roles? Can they fit into the teams? Because we are having diverse teams in the offices where we work. So some of the skills that I would look out for are some of those skills, and probably maybe my colleague can add on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm learning at this point. For me, I'm here to absorb, but also the English is on point there. So thank you very much. Shamim, over to you. Kindly share with us what when you hear transferable skills, what comes to your mind, and what are some examples that you could share with us?
Okay, just to complement what Esther has said, as a recruiter, I've seen that most organizations are hiring people who are ready to go, someone who can just hit the ground running. And over time, we've seen that the ability to train has reduced in terms of the ability to budget and ability to get someone who actually knows the skill set that you're looking out for. So over time, we have seen that transferable skills have been on high demand because we have had an uptake of coaching and mentoring within the workplace, budding. So some of the transferable skills that I've seen have been very important, include communication. So we have people in organizations who need to deliver messages, and these messages have to be received in the right and appropriate way. So communication, ability to communicate effectively has been a highly sought skill. We also talk about self-management. We go by policy. If you find there is an individual who is unable to process what is written in the policy document, in the HR manual, and actually implement that in their daily life, you'll find that that person will be one of the most challenging employees. So over interviews and assessments, once you are trying to get the right fit, you would like to identify someone who has that skill. Maybe one other that I can talk about is negotiation, because at times you find someone who cannot figure things out on their own. They need to always refer to someone else, a supervisor. But if you get someone who has that skill of advocacy and negotiation, and you tell them, you know what, this is a challenge, this is the expectation, the output that we want includes this, go for it. So you find someone being able to maneuver their way around it.
Though whenever I hear the word negotiation skills, the first thing that comes to my mind, you know those movies where someone was like on a ledge or on a building and then they bring in a negotiator. And he has to calm the situation down. And so as she was sharing that, that's what kept coming to my mind. And this information is largely for someone out there who is asking themselves, well, I do not have the experience. How am I going to land myself this career that I long for, that I want, that I am pursuing? Will these people give me an ear? Well, here you are hearing from the professionals themselves what they are looking for, a recruiter, a head of human resources. And so it's high time for you out there to equip yourself, get that training, sit down and try to learn some of these transferable skills. Now, I want to ask us, why hiring for transferable skills is the future of tomorrow? Maybe let's begin with Shamim. Why do you think these transferable skills is the way to go down the road?
Well, I would say that once you get it right from the beginning, the rest is effortless. They said during the HR cycle, it's the entry and the exit that give the employee the right experience. So it's about identifying these transferable skills right from the onset and ensuring that you nurture them all throughout. So if you can identify an individual with the right skill set, you'll find that the employment cycle, the productivity management, performance management is flawless. Yeah, once you do not want to risk having a bad hire, because data
that's a recruiter's nightmare.
Yes,
bad hire.
Once you get a bad hire, the cost of replacement is much more than the cost of at least getting it wrong. So you just want to make sure you get it right from the beginning to avoid all that.
Okay, thank you very much, Shamim. And over to you, Esther. Why do you think this is the future down the road of hiring?
You know, if I look back to when we were first hired for the roles that we're doing, the focus was on, do you have a degree? Do you have a master's?
Yes, which
do you
university?
Have how many years of experience? Which university? But all those things do not make they don't you know, make the work flow as it should be, because I may have all these degrees, I may have all these papers, but actually I cannot deliver that job. I can't deliver that project that I'm supposed to deliver. But of course, if you're going to be a recruiter, if you're going to be hired, or if you're going to hire, you want to look for someone who is going to deliver results, regardless of the degree they bring. It's quality at the gate. It's about how are you going to deliver that project. It's not about how many papers do you have, because I'll have the papers. Maybe I copied in class, and I didn't do it myself, so I can get the point. Maybe I had the kasasi, what we call the kasasi. So I want to hire someone who is going to deliver, someone who is going to be a good communicator, someone who is going to build relations with those government officials, with those politicians, because, you know, working with government, you're working with very many people. I'm going to hire someone who is going to fit into the team, who is not going to make my people leave tomorrow because I hired them and they don't have adaptable skills and they're not good team players. So it's the future right now, because as employers, we are moving away from papers, we're moving away from how much degrees do you carry behind you into, can you deliver for success? Can you deliver on time? Can you influence? Can you communicate? So it is more that, and as we evolve in HR, we're looking more at, if I hire Shamim today, can she get me that money on the table from this donor? What skill do you need? You need negotiation, you need relationship building, you need influencing, you need advocacy. It's not about how many degrees you have.
That's true.
So right now, as we speak, as people come into the workspaces, it's important that we nurture these soft skills. It's important. And Shamim talked about coaching and mentorship. So I would really, really think, as we bring in, as we hire for this experience, let's also focus a lot on the coaching, the mentorship, because that's what is going to get us to deliver the projects and the work that we say that we would deliver from the people that we promised that would deliver for. So for me, I would focus. I think that's why it's the in thing right now. It is the soft skills. It's no longer the technical. The technical is good to have, but it needs to be the icing on the cake. Will be the soft skills.
I hear you.
Yes.
Now, this is a sermon. For me, if you're not taking notes from this sermon, I don't know what you are up to.
Yeah.
We'll take one more question before we have a quick short break, and then we'll dive back into another segment. Now, how, as a recruiter, as a head of human resource, as someone who is searching for these skills, how do you spot someone with transferable skills? Let's begin with you, Esther.
Wow, interesting.
Yes.
I'll use my experience this morning. I was just hiring, and I was telling Shamim this afternoon, I was telling her, so when I was hiring for one of the roles I was hiring, for me, when I sit on a panel, I'm not looking at the technical experience as HR. I'm looking at character, I'm looking at presentation, I'm looking at communication, I'm looking at how they go around the questions, not the what they answer. I'm looking the how they answer the questions, how they approach it. Because someone who is approaching a question in the way they're approaching, you're seeing whether they can solve problems, whether they can think on the other side, whether they can think outside the box, whether they're not going to give me school answers or, book theory. So most times you hear textbook answers. So most time you hear someone is so theoretical. We're looking at the practicability. So as a candidate, if you're on that panel and I'm the recruiter, I'm looking at your presentation. I'm looking at how you're communicating, your eye contact. I'm looking at your confidence. I'm looking at what you have done, because it's most cases what you have done, your experiences that show me that actually you can bring the skill home here where I'm hiring you. So those are the things I think I will look out for. And of course, as a candidate, you need to know what you're good at, because then you use what you're good at to sell yourself.
Yes.
If you're a good communicator, go there, communicate.
Yes.
If you're good at negotiating, go in there as they're asking you about salary, negotiate the salary. Then I will pick that and I'll know, if she can negotiate like this, then if I took her in a meeting, she'll be a good negotiator.
True.
Then fit in the
and
team.
And that's something that a lot of people are lacking, because when you talk about people negotiating for their salaries, it really nags me nowadays when you ask a candidate, so what is your salary expectation?
Thank you.
And they're like, that is a hard question. I'm like, what are you worth?
Yes.
Like, I'll take anything.
Yes, I'll take anything.
Thank you. You have a
salary,
you have a salary structure.
Yes. I think it's a textbook answer people have received that people need to get out of, because for that very same job, someone will get a much higher amount than even what was on the budget, because they can speak about it. Over to you, Shamim. Please share with us your thoughts. How do you spot transferable skills in a candidate?
Well, I'd like to switch it up a little bit to the end of the recruitment journey. So we have had experiences where candidates prepare for interviews. They get a CV writer to create the perfect CV. They role play. Exactly. AI, ChatGPT. Then you get a role play opportunity to speak through the interview questions that you probably Googled, and you find they're the exact questions you find. Then it goes to the selection part of it, of the process. And you'll find that they ask, okay, let's see your references. So one thing I want to open our minds to is transferable skills is not a one-day activity. It's something that you have to intentionally build over time. So just like Esther said, negotiation, ability, adaptability. So all these are developed through experiences. Even right now, where you are in your current space, you have to be intentionally building those skills, such that when we get to the end of the recruitment process, once we ask your previous employer, your reference, your friend, your classmate, your workmate, how does Esther behave? How is her performance? Any random person should say the same thing. She is dependable, she's adaptable, she's a good communicator. It should be a common voice all through.
Yeah.
So one of the ways that is most common for us to identify these transferable skills is through the reference checks.
Yeah.
Now, if you're hearing it from Shamim, she's the queen of background checks. and I mean, I've learned so much working in close proximity with her, being able to understand that even your past matters. So where you are now, you really need to have a good impression and a good impact, because those are your references for tomorrow. So currently we do want to take a quick short break, and we'll be back after the break with more information on this subject. Don't touch your dial. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from that quick short break. We are still having fun, a thrilling moment right here, discussing transferable skills. And I am once again privileged to have Esther with me here and Shamim with me. And we are diving into one more question on our subject today. I hope, feel free, if you find this information helpful, please share the link with a colleague, share it to a group. Let's help share information that could potentially help someone else land that dream career of theirs. Now, this particular question that we want to tackle is largely for you, the candidates. Often you will find yourself in a position where maybe you are not as qualified as you should be for a particular role. But that does not mean you do not have skills that you cannot negotiate with. I love the way we've been using the negotiation
I
word.
know.
Yes, so you negotiate using your skills out there. So we want to understand, as a candidate, how can you sell your transferable skills to the board that is interviewing you, to that head of human resource, to that panel, to that board of directors? And let us go ahead and start with Shamim. Kindly tell us, if this is you in the shoes of the candidate, how would you sell those transferable skills?
All right, thank you very much, Emma.
Welcome.
So I'd start by positioning yourself. I'll give an example of how I transitioned from administration all the way to management. So that was my second job opportunity. I was really into administration, executive assistant, and then I saw an opportunity for a managerial position. So of course this was bigger than what I believe I could do, and I just put in my papers, and lo and behold, I was called for an interview. So of course I went there shivering at the time, like there's that imposter syndrome that always attacks you, but you still prepare, research, reading, understanding, because one thing is for sure, you might be able to respond with knowledge more than experience, and you might be able to get the opportunity. But the one thing that I can refer to that really got me that job was my ability to show my stakeholder engagement abilities. So I was in the Human Resource Managers Association of Uganda. I was a member, I was a leader at the time, and I was applying to an HR consultancy. So of course that appealed to them. The fact that yes, I've never worked in a managerial position, but I can learn on job. That's what they call, according to a talent mapping, a high potential candidate. So at times they take a risk on you, and they will just observe you through the probation period to see, okay, will this person, if I train this person, if I give them the necessary capacity development to be able to manage a team, will they use their resources, their connections, their network to actually help us with our operations? So use your network, because it's your net worth, and you never know, the sky is a limit from there on.
Yes, amazing. And I always kept telling my class that we went to school with that you people, you're studying human resource. These are the human resource managers of tomorrow. So look around you. Make sure these are your friends. And so I hope we are picking something that could help us with our transferable skill sets, as you can hear from Shamim's story. Thank you very much for sharing that information with us, that it doesn't matter where you are now, but if you are working on those skills, it could land you a better opportunity down the road. Now, Esther, kindly share with us also your thoughts on the same.
Yeah, thank you very much, Emma. So my thoughts are really more on, you know, I'm looking at myself as the candidate. I'm walking into this room and I want this job. The first thing is, how do I show up? How do I present myself? You know, this question of tell us about yourself.
Yes.
That is the selling moment you have. Especially where you said, if you know you're not very good for this job, you just gambled. Because I always tell people, get to that short list. The rest is yours.
Yes.
Do magic, sell yourself
It's a
from
pitch
the
moment.
pitch it. So for me, I would say, as a candidate, that first question of tell us about yourself, you either make it or you break it. So if you can't sell yourself in those 3 first minutes, because that's the time you tell them about your skills, that's the time you tell them about the expertise you bring on board, the skill sets, the other things that you bring on board as Esther. And then once you do that, just know that these days we are so much into situational questions, behavior competency questions, skill set questions. We want to see how can you apply it. Come loaded with that. Don't use the school knowledge. School knowledge is good. It will give you the baseline, but know the what and the how to do. Because then if I'm selling myself, I need to show you that I can do it.
Yes.
Regardless of whether I'm an engineer, but I'm applying for an engineering job, I know someone who can do it somewhere.
Yes.
The negotiation still comes in. The last thing I can say is that most cases as recruiters, as we're recruiting people, we're looking at them farther than the job we're hiring them for. So how can you help a recruiter see that? How can you, at the end, when we are asking you any questions for us, always have a question or two for the recruiter. And that's the moment you sell those skills. That's the moment you ask a question that will throw them off balance.
So at the very beginning
and at the
the
very
end.
end. Make an impression at the beginning, make an impression when you're leaving. So that's the next person that walks in. You will always remember that person who was there before. So for me, I would
you
say
have a ranking system in your
exactly.
mind.
You have a ranking already.
Yes.
So because you've made it at the beginning, you've left a mark at the end. And trust me, there is no recruiter that will forget about you when we are doing the summary, when we are doing the last bit of it, you know, saying
wording scores.
the wording scores and what. We will remember that pitch. So sell yourself at those moments. And like Shamim said, even after those moments of the recruitment, of the interviews, find ways, you know, there are those who even will tell you, I can send you my blogs, I can say, you know, sell that. Tell them you have blogs.
Follow me
Give
on
them
LinkedIn.
your LinkedIn, Twitter accounts. Then there will, especially if you're going for a communication role, so show some bit of evidence of the things that you've done. Let them follow you. So, of course, without prying so much into the employer, because then you're crossing the boundary. But I think the entry and the exit of that interview will be very crucial for you. What
That
happens after is history.
Is history.
Yes.
That actually reminds me of something
Yes.
interesting.
Yeah.
We as a panelists are very judgmental in nature. That's
Yes.
our
Your
role.
role.
Yes.
Yeah, so once you mention those skills, like I'm dependable,
Yeah.
I work well under pressure, they'll actually believe you. They'll
Yes.
actually write
Yeah.
that down in the summaries that Emma is dependable. Emma is works under pressure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they'll just track that when they actually give you that job. They'll be like, okay, said he can work under pressure. Let's now put that pressure.
Yes.
Yes.
The
So
pressure
whatever
comes
you
down.
whatever you share in the interview, they believe you. So it depends on what you're going to share, how relevant it is to the job, and how you're going to present it to be believable. Yeah.
And I think I should get an episode where I'm talking about how to pitch.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Where you're not pitching the product, but
You're
you're
pitching
pitching
you.
yourself.
Exactly.
You know, you are pitching what you're capable of,
Yes.
what you an amazing at,
Yes, yes.
and making that first impression.
Exactly.
And that exiting impression.
Exactly.
Banangi, I hope, ladies and gentlemen, we picked a couple of leaves
Yeah.
from these two amazing people.
Or the whole branch.
Yes?
Or the whole branch.
Or the whole branch, please. If you want to take the whole tree, that is also okay. There is still a forest coming. But definitely, I'm going to give us both 1 minute. There is someone out there who has tried these things, but they always get nervous when they enter the interview room. For some reason.
Yeah.
The hands begin to shake. They pull the bottle back and forth in case it is there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things happen in that interview room.
Yeah.
So just in less than a minute, what word of advice could you give that such an individual? They've been trying, they've been looking for a job, and
Yeah.
things are not just working out. Shamin, please share with us.
Well, the one piece of advice I would like to share with you, my dear candidate, is believe in yourself. It starts with you knowing who you are, your self-worth, and then translating that into words, and then using your body, because body language is very key. It's part of your communication. So if you go in the interview and you're already shivering, you're already showing that you're dependent on them, it will all be a distraction. So if you package yourself well, make sure that you go there and let them know that they need you. It's not the other way around. Then they'll be able to consider what you're saying, and the rest is history.
Amazing.
And I wish you all the best.
Awesome. Thank you very much for coming through, by the way.
You're welcome.
Big shout out to you. And Esther, kindly share with us.
Yes. For me, I would say to the candidates, just adding on to what Shamim just said, as you walk into the room, the first thing you need to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is for you not to show up.
You know?
These are people like you.
Yes.
You know your thing. You applied for this job. Just tell yourself, this is my job. Get onto that panel. And if they give you a glass of water, don't say no. Take that glass.
Yes.
Because it's a way of calming you down. As you're taking that glass of water, they are getting settled, you're coming down, you're also watching the expressions, and it settles you in. And the other thing that I just adding on what Shabim said, you know better than they do. It is you telling them, you're telling them about, you're telling them their story.
Sure.
So the worst that can happen is for you not to show up. It's for you not to be the subject matter. It is your space.
So there is showing up
Yes.
physically.
Yes.
But you're absent.
Yes. Yes.
And they're showing up and they know you came.
They know you can.
And you're memorable.
Amazing.
And they know you can.
Yes.
Yes.
Amazing. I just wish we could go on, but I know down the road, I would definitely want to have you both sometime down the road to share more on
Yeah.
this wealth of knowledge. And as recruiters, as practitioners,
Yeah.
I do really, really respect your experiences, and a hand of applause for both of you. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope we picked something. Feel free, once again, I appeal to you to share this link with someone who could be in the need of this knowledge. But also, I want to encourage you, if you are out there, you're a job seeker, feel free to check out our website at www.aldedia.com, where I am a recruiter as well as Shamim is a recruiter. We often have a couple of jobs running there. So feel free to give it a shot. You never know, I could be that person you'll find on that panel, or Shamim, or Esther. You never know. So feel free to check it out. And also, I do want to celebrate and send a shout out to Google Day Television for giving us this opportunity and this spot to utilize the resources to bring this message to you. Until next time, please keep your eyes glued to this channel, or this LinkedIn space. We'll be bringing in more specialists to help you head out into that fulfillment of your career path. We love you very much, and all the best till next time. God bless you.